Well, it looks like the old daily here, the daily G35, is about to turn over to 170,000 miles. So, this is a good time. I figured to go ahead and do a 170,000 mile review of what it takes to get the car to 170,000 miles on your VQ35DE. This one happens to be a rev up. And there it goes. We officially hit 170. 170,000 miles on this 13-year-old G35. And I'll tell you exactly what it took to get it to 170,000 miles. This has been a very reliable car. But with anything that has movable parts, this car is no exception. There are some things that will break. And I'm going to pull out my folder and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, let's take a look in here. So, I'm going to show you guys what I've actually done. Let's see here. So, I've written down each maintenance item and the mileage and the date. So, if it looks here at the 170,000 miles, going back 164, I put in a new camber kit. Put in a new slave at 161. Puts us here at the weak battery at 161. I bought my battery at O'Reilly's. It came with a 3-year warranty, so in Arizona the desert really cooks batteries because of the heat. So my battery was placed for free under warranty. That brings us here to the Fram Fresh Breeze cabin filter, which I'll show you here, where I replaced it. So then that brings us to 155. I was still on OEM suspension for 155,000 miles, or I was pretty close to 12, let's see here. Yeah, basically 12 years before the suspension failed on me. As you can see in my video, the back strut completely seized. So anytime you hit a bump, it would sway really bad, so I was definitely in need of a new suspension. And I must say the KW V3s, you can adjust compression and rebound. They've been amazing. So next is a 154,000, put in a new air filter. Then I put in a new MAF sensor at 151. The MAF actually didn't go bad. I was just tired of waiting on it to go bad, so I went ahead and just bought a new one. Then I did a power steering flush at 148,000, 145,000. Put in new coil packs. I upgraded from Import Direct. These actually blew. Let's see here. They blew back at 142 when I was in California, and I replaced it on the side of the road. The thing is when I replaced these on the side of the road, I didn't put dielectric grease in them. So yeah, it lasted about 3,000 miles, but since I didn't put that dielectric grease that you put inside the coil pack, like in the circular thing inside of it, apparently one blistered and popped, so I had a coil pack go out. And when I was there, I saw that they had these Import Directs, which were made in Japan, versus the ones they had given to me at the O'Reilly's in California when I did it on the side of the road. So since they're completely with a lifetime warranty, as you can see right here, they replaced them for free, even though I messed up with the dielectric grease. So I went ahead and got 6 new coil packs and 145,000 miles, and I also replaced the spark plugs. So Here, the alternator actually, I know you guys aren't going to want to hear this, the alternator didn't go out, the starter didn't go out, and the fuel pump didn't go out. I actually replaced those because the car was 12 years old at 145,000 miles and I never replaced any of them. So I make trips to California from Arizona and I didn't want to get stranded and have to pay a mechanic to do the labor or have to do it on the side of the road. So this is why I went ahead and replaced all these. The alternator, I'll show you here in this video. The starter, I didn't do a video of. And the fuel pump I didn't, but I can show you pictures. Okay, so that brings us next to 142,000 miles back in 2015. I went ahead and replaced a radiator. This is, like I was saying, these coil packs failed on me out in California, and then on my way back, the radiator busted a leak. So I had to go ahead and replace it. So I got a radiator from O'Reilly's with a lifetime warranty. I'm going to show you the pictures of the install here now. And since I did the radiator, I went ahead and I also did the thermostat. And I'll go ahead and show that to you now. And then at 141,000, it has a new clutch slave. That's when I put in a slave cylinder, which I'd already done back here at 161, so about 20,000 miles. I went ahead and replaced the slave because it's completely free, it doesn't cost me anything. Just when I change the fluid, that's usually what I do, is I just replace the slave. So that puts us at 141,000 miles. Before moving on to page number 2 of maintenance and mods that I've done to my 2005 G35, which I've owned for 13 years. I bought back new when I was in college. Let's go ahead and take a little walk around and also take a look at the interior.
And what do you see?
Show you what 170,000 miles still feels like in this beast. I hope you guys enjoyed that ride along and the beautiful scenery here in Arizona. It's awesome. And I'm not from here, so I really enjoy it. So back at it, 140,000 miles. My cam sensors went out. And on the VQ cam sensors, it's very common for them to go out. They last about 70,000 miles. These actually cost me nothing to replace because they came with a lifetime warranty since I bought them at AutoZone. I don't believe the reason I got them at AutoZone is because O'Reilly's doesn't carry them. So if they have a lifetime warranty, instead of buying it from the dealership or the manufacturer, when they go out, I'd rather get them for free. So that's what I do. So then it looks like here, my Exetti clutch, I actually had to get my clutch replaced. It lasted 80,000 miles. And this time I paid somebody to do it instead of doing it myself, especially since the price and labor has come down. I only paid 400 bucks, and then I supplied the parts. So I did Exetti Stage 1 clutch, a dual mass flywheel, and you can see right on up here. Right there is where I replaced the clutch, and I did it myself at 60,000 miles. And I'll go ahead and show you the pictures from when I did the install. So at the time I didn't do a video when I changed out my clutch. This was back before YouTube was really popular. But I took pictures because I just wanted to remember what it was like. So here's where it was at 60,000 miles. And the reason I did it myself is because I'll explain here at the end is just how expensive it was. Prices really come down. So like I said, it was at 60,000 miles. I replaced this back in 2011. So here's where I removed the gear shifter lever, which you have to do. Took out my OEM Y pipe. Then removed the drive shaft so you could get to the tranny. Here it is up on jack stands. Because I didn't have a lift, I had to do this on my back. You can see I have OEM cats. But I did hire a friend to help me drop the transmission so we could balance it as it came down. We had a little tranny lift. Here's the Exetti Stage 1 clutch. Here's the OEM dual mass flywheel, which is made by Luke. And then here's what the old one pulled out. And you can tell by all the black spots on it that it's just toasted. And the reason why is I was letting the slippage go for about a month before I actually replaced the clutch. And the thing is these flywheels, back then, they used to charge, I think a shop wanted $3,400 to do my clutch and flywheel. This is when I was in Ohio. And that's just expensive. So this flywheel back then was like $1,200. And then I bought the clutch for, I think, $300 from Exetti. You can get these dual mass flywheels now down to like $400. They're by Luke. Is the manufacturer, L-U-K. So it's a lot cheaper now. And that's the reason I did it myself back then, because I was able to do the install all myself for about $1,500 versus $3,200. And plus I learned a lot from it. At 133,000 miles, I went ahead and replaced my throttle body. There was nothing wrong with the OEM one, but I figured, hey, it's got 133,000 miles on it. Why not replace it and get a performance part at the same time to ensure that there's no failure of the throttle body. So I went from 70 millimeters, which is the OEM throttle body size, to 75 with NWP. Just a little bit more power there at the top end. So then at 130,000 miles, I started getting, it was around 127 actually, I started getting this lean code. And I didn't know where the lean code was coming from. I checked for vacuum leaks everywhere. It ended up being my O2 sensors. So up here at 127,000 miles, you see the Denso. I went ahead, those are the ones in front of the catalytic converters. The catalytic converters that I don't have. And they come off the headers. So I replaced bank 1, which is the driver's side, and bank 2, I believe, is the passenger side. Replaced those sensors, the O2 sensors, and the code still came back. I still was getting a lean code. So I went ahead and replaced the O2 sensors behind the catalytic converter, right there at the 130, and the code went away. So that was my lean code issue. I couldn't find for a couple months what was happening. It would pop up just randomly once a month, once every 2 weeks, and then once a week, and I knew something was up. So the next, I went ahead and got the Motordyne Shockwave installed at 128,000 miles. I had a NVIDIA Gemini before, and I can go ahead and show that to you right now if you want. Go back here through these pages. That's when I replaced the Plutonium, front bumper off, new stereo, radar detector. Okay, here it is. That's the OEM exhaust, and this is what it looks like. It's 2.25 inch pipe. This is my NVIDIA, which came back with a 2.3 inch pipe. And I finally sold that, and I got the Shockwave, which is a 2.5 inch pipe to a progressive 3 inch with Helmholtz resonators. So there's the old NVIDIA setup. There's the Shockwave by Motordyne. There's the ART pipes that I had installed that I did myself. So yeah. Alright, next is 2014. I put in a clear brawl, which I did myself. That was about $300. It was actually really hard. Then I did 123,000 miles in my garage. My rear diff was leaking gear oil, and it was dripping on the floor. So since I pulled out the whole diff to put in new seals, I went ahead and had it rebuilt. Put in new pinion bearings, pinion seals, and that Nismo diff cover right there at 123,000 miles. So I went ahead and, let's see, the belts were replaced. This is when I had the front bumper also repainted, my Nismo front bumper, the hood. I also did my air intake. And this was back at 122,000 miles in 2014. I also replaced my PVC. I actually did a delete. I don't have a PVC anymore because I have a vented catch can. At 100, looks like this is when my record keeping started sucking. I didn't really start taking good records until about after 60,000 miles. Here's where I did the MREV2 by Motordyne, the lower cooler gasket, the 5/16 spacer, which I can show you here. So then at 117,000 miles, I flushed the slave cylinder brakes. That's when I had my ART pipes installed. 2014, 110,000 miles, I did a radiator flush. Then at 98,000 miles is when I did a vented catch can. I'll show you the video on that here now. And 95,000 miles, I did stainless steel clutch line and a flush. 93,000 miles, I did the AMS oil change and the clutch and the rear diff. And then here in 2011, at 60,000 miles, I replaced my clutch, the belts, and then my dual mass flywheel. I did Continental belts. Alright, I broke it down into two parts. Cost of ownership, which shows basically what I got in performance mods, how much it's cost me, and then how much it's cost me in maintenance over 13 years with my G35. So I just broke it down simple. My exhaust is 1800, the ART pipes are 800, MREV2 was 500, my air intake was 400, then the tune was 700 with the software. The big bore throttle body was 365, and then the ISO Motordyne 5/16 spacer kit was 300. So in performance, I got about 5 grand, so 4,865. And then here in maintenance, I just broke it down pretty simple, the major stuff. So my clutch, this is for me to do it myself, it was $950. To replace the diff bushing was $930, and the rear diff rebuilt. And then to do coil packs and spark plugs, that was $560. And then my sensors went out, my O2 sensors, that was about $516 for all 4. Then I replaced a radiator, that was $350. And then here's your cam sensors, those are $200. So even though I did all this myself, the parts alone was $3,500 over 13 years. So you really think about it, the G35 is really reliable. To only have to spend that much on maintenance. I mean, yeah, it does include brakes and oil and the main stuff, but these are just the major things that will go wrong. So it's really not that bad. It's been a highly reliable car, and I've been very happy with it.